Jesus is entirely the Son of Man, the Son of God, the Word of God, the Word that was in the beginning, and the Word that was with God. And he says, he that serves me, he will my Father honor. So, the Word has a Father. The Son of God, obviously, should have a Father if he's a Son. But if you serve me, he didn't say, serve me as a Son. He didn't say, serve me as the Word. He didn't say, serve me as the Spirit. He said, serve me, entirely me. He will my Father honor. Now my soul is troubled. I say, Father, save me from this hour. But for this cause came unto this hour. Father, glorify thy name. My wife read it earlier. Jesus was troubled in himself. Now, oftentimes I hear people say, well, he was afraid to be separated from his Father. I believe that. But I believe in his whole humanity as well. As I said, some of y'all heard me say a couple of weeks ago that, again, he was entirely human as well. We're talking about the Word that had no affiliation at all with suffering. Hear me? Let's get understanding comprehension. Prior to the Son of Man coming into the world, he had no affiliation to pain, no affiliation to sin. He had no affiliation to suffering. The Word of God never suffered prior to now. What my wife was reading. And he didn't suffer trouble prior to him being made flesh. Do you think the Word of God suffered any trouble made in the worlds? Making the sun, the atmosphere, the clouds to float over the sky, the ground, the rock, separating the ground from the grain and seed of the tree? He made these substance with nothing. And he separated them. Though the tree is in the ground, the tree doesn't belong to the ground. The tree belongs to the seed and the sower of the seed. The ground is one thing and the tree is another. And the worms that travel in the ground is another. What can trouble the Word and his creation? Nothing. But now, the Word made flesh. What's that, brother? The Word being made flesh. Now dwelling among us. Saying in these words. How you doing, man? Let me finish preaching for a second. You got time?
I sure do. I'm stuck right there.
Okay.
I was driving by and I heard it. I was like, you know what? Let me double back.
Man, I appreciate it, bro. I'm fellowship with us just for a second, if you don't mind.
At the same day.
Shut up. Yeah. I gotta get this out real quick because the Lord is. Jesus says, "My Father honor those that serve me." And then he says, "I'm troubled, but what will I say? Father, save me, Father. But for this hour have I come." But for this cause I have come even unto this hour. Jesus is getting ready to be crucified. Jesus is suffering pain on the inside, expecting and knowing he don't need anybody to tell him what's in man. He doesn't need for anybody to tell him when he's getting ready to suffer. Jesus, even prior to this point, said to Peter, except you, any man who's going to come after me, he must first deny himself, pick up his cross, and follow me. Follow me now. Jesus is saying, I'm suffering trouble, but what shall I say? Father, take me, save me from this trouble. Prior to his crucifixion, he tells his own disciple, you can't be my disciple except you pick up your cross. He hadn't even gone to the cross yet. But he tells Peter, you got to pick up your cross and follow me. But shall I say, Father, save me? No, for this reason I come. Jesus, the Word that was made flesh, the Son of Man, the one who created all things, the writer of Hebrews testifies of it. God made all things through this man, Jesus. Right? Which means he's an eternal being. He's one with the Father. He had no identification of suffering, pain, or had known no sin. Now, he's in the world, and he's suffering. Now he's in the world. He's being called out of his name. Now he's in the world. He's getting ready to go to the cross. He understands what he's getting ready to suffer. He understands he's getting ready to be tied to a rock. And they take this 9-fox tail thing, what he called, with bones and nails and metal, and beat the flesh of his back and embarrass him in front of all that nation. But Jesus, prior to his saying that he's coming, he says, if we're going to be his disciples and going to serve him, my Father will honor you. So I'm saying this and I'm being repetitive in this thing because my hope in my heart that you would hear these words of faith and genuinely serve Jesus. What servant are you that won't do what your master tells you to do? What servant says to the Lord, no, Lord, I just believe in your name and I do what I want? Jesus says, it is he that loves me that keep my sayings. Says this voice, come not because of me. This is after the Lord said, the Father says, let me find what he says. He said, okay, then came a voice out of heaven saying, I have both glorified it and will glorify it again. And the people, therefore, that stood by and heard and said, thunder. Some said an angel. And Jesus replied, given revelation, given understanding, no, this ain't no thunder. It ain't no lightning. No, it's not even an angel. This voice came out because of me. But for your sake, now is the judgment of this world. Now shall the prince of this world be cast out. And I, if I be lifted up from the earth, will draw all men unto me. Jesus giving very clear revelation. That word that came, that voice that came out of heaven was the Father. And it was because of him in his prayer to the Father, saying, should I ask to deliver me? But this voice came for the sake of those who heard and us that are reading. That Jesus is not a liar. He's not playing games. The voice that came out of heaven is not to deceive you. Don't read it and say, well, okay, the Spirit came out of Jesus and went up into heaven and it spoke down to him. No, you're lying. The Father is in heaven or above heaven. The Son is right there to give us understanding that he is the Son of God entirely, to dwell among us, and we beheld his glory, and that we are to serve him, and that his time was coming where he will be lifted up in the earth, speaking of his crucifixion.